Not going to lie, Sunday morning at 6 a.m. came around really, really quickly after a little bit of a boys' night out. Few too many, perhaps, of these. So worth it, though. Little boys' night. So I was fuzzy, and I saw the 11, thought, ooh, this is very plan B-ish, illness creeping into the squad. And then, 29 seconds in, was it? Villa fall behind, usually doom, gloom, that was it. You might as well go back upstairs to bed and watch the recording later, but something washed over me, some sense of hope and optimism. And sure enough, little by little, Aston Villa got back into that game. So I am enjoying a beer with you for this edition of the Holy Trinity show, which is our last in terms of games until Boxing Day, which is also so hard to figure out, frankly. Let's review. Brighton Hove Albion 1, Aston Villa 2. How do you like this, by the way? This is the warm-up gear the lads wore on Sunday. And how about this guy? Color looks a little bit different in this. But, I think Castore truly is the best kit we've had since the Luke gear. And the Luke gear was special. The only thing I don't like is the away blues. It looks like sweaty pajamas to me. But this stuff, I could wear Castore all day long. I'd have my morning gear, something like this. Then I'd have my afternoon lounging training kit, my going out for a walk and walking the neighborhood gear. It is beautiful stuff. And right now, the home kit is 50% off. So you can buy his and hers for Christmas and match. Wouldn't that be cute? I've put a link in the description below. You could use that link to get to the Villa Fanatic store, order a bunch of kit in time for Christmas. There's a lot of cool Christmas stuff as well, the sweaters and all that. And you'll be helping out the show. Beautiful day, beautiful result, great crowd as always, lots and lots of limbs as we welcome you to the Holy Trinity show, the three key issues or moments that define Brighton 1, Aston Villa 2. Again, though, not really three things, as we start with the key statistics. And one of the factors I wanted to delve into was clearances, having just shown you Tyrone Mings there. But really, this game, in most of the stats, belong to Brighton Hove Albion, although Villa did create the more XG. But look at that number, 34 clearances to 7, almost 5 times as many. The Villa back line was immense. So let's just put this little patch into context for a moment, because we've had 2 managers already this year and 3 in the space of a year. And if we beat Liverpool on Boxing Day, we will be 1 point behind them, and they're currently in 6th place. Unai Emery has 6 points out of a possible 6, a 1,000 winning percentage from 2 games that I think a lot of people would have never dreamed that Villa would have taken 6 points out of 6 in a season and a league that saw Brentford, yes, Brentford, go to the champions and win away by 2-1, the same Bees team that Aston Villa tore to shreds at home just a few weeks ago. It is a bonkers season, but I will take it. I am all for it and very grateful and thankful for it. Douglas Luiz gets thrown completely under the bus by Emi Martinez less than a minute into the game. Martinez looking a little bit like Robin Olsen on that pass, and then wouldn't you know it, at virtually the same spot on the field in the second half, goes and wins the ball and sets up Danny Ings for the game winner. Yes, Danny Ings, who I said on Thursday was shot. And I don't change opinions based on one game. I look at it from a wider perspective, and his age and his depreciating value still makes me think that he needs to be moved on from Aston Villa despite the 2 goals. And I also think, I don't know why, that Danny Ings has a spectacular stash of adult exotic magazines and DVDs. I don't know why I feel this way, but I just think he does. And that doesn't make me like him any less. I like the guy a lot. Well, I mean, how can you not like this guy? If you don't like this guy, you're the one with the problem. But my point is, here we are, this lovably unpredictable Aston Villa, who have remained undefeated at the Amex. I know this isn't an ancient ground, but still, Brighton's been decent there lately, and Aston Villa have yet to lose on that patch of grass. Villa's first away win of the season and the first time they've won a game after conceding first this season. Two issues that have really played over the last year and a half, 2 years. In fact, the last time they came from behind to win a game was December of 2021, that home game versus Leicester, the Ezri Konsa game. And the last time we pulled off that feat away was May of 2021, the end of that season when we went to Spurs, fell behind after 8 minutes, and then pulled off the same feat that we pulled off on Sunday. I mean, these are rare occurrences, and they've occurred. And at the final whistle, after 8 minutes of stoppage time, I was virtually disoriented and slightly giddy, definitely hungover. There was a lot of conjecture over the penalty incident involving Luca Dean and Solly March. And I have to admit, when I saw it on the first replay, I was like, well, Villa's going to face a penalty kick here because we're simply not allowed to have nice things. And the longer the check went on, the more I was convinced, well, it did kind of look like, he got legs before he got ball, and there was no malice in it. I don't even think he knew Solly March was there. He was looking up the field to make a clearance, and, it looked like he got legs first. But when the decision went Aston Villa's way, I kind of giggled a little bit, to be honest with you, because if the shoe was on the other foot, if the exact same situation had happened in reverse, well, Villa fans would have felt hard done by. But that, you know what that was? That was footballing karma, evening things out for Luca Dean and canceling out that simply horrendous handball decision at Crystal Palace earlier this year. And then stylistically, that was the third completely type of game that Aston Villa played in a week. And that may be the most encouraging aspect of all in this new Unai Emery era, because apart from the goal 29 seconds in, which was totally avoidable, did you ever feel as though Villa was so under the cosh and so scrambly or under pressure that it was just a matter of time? Because I didn't. There was the one chance for the youngster Levi Colwill, who was wide open in the penalty area. And, if that's Adam Webster, maybe a different result. But Brighton was going side to side an awful lot. They were trying to go around, but they never really managed to penetrate, to get through. And then little by little, in small but effective spurts, Aston Villa started to create some chances. And lo and behold, it's John McGinn, of all people, who gets into the penalty area. And, well, he was falling before contact almost, but I'm not complaining. This is what we want to see from John McGinn, get into the penalty area. And the way he was deployed allowed him to do so. And just with John McGinn, you see the difference can make when he plays in a position out wide where he's not being compressed all the time in central midfield. So he had time to pick out a switch pass or make a run into the penalty area and tumble over in installments. And even though Sanchez got a hand to Danny Ings' subsequent penalty there, it wasn't enough. And that was Danny Ings' 100th goal. That was kind of lost in the hoopla of it all. And then Ings takes it one step further. He somehow bamboozles the ball off a defender's leg, so it rolls into the goal more slowly than, well, an Emi Martinez restart, really. I mean, this was some A1 shithousery away from home in 8 minutes of stoppage time. But back to Danny Ings. Do you know what Unai Emery told him before the game? He said, Danny, play between center backs. Don't worry about pressing. Go play between center backs. That's your wheelhouse. And no Adam Webster. That was a benefit to Ings, but that's what he did. And lo and behold, he gets the game-winning goal because of it. And while we're on the subject of center backs, what has happened here? Because I was worried about Ezri Konsa earlier this year. He was so out of sorts, and at times last year as well, with Steven Gerrard trying to destroy his career. The biggest lesson we can learn here is that form can change. All hope is not lost when a player is going through a bad spell. But I mean, if Diego Carlos comes back fit and in good shape, and they go out and get another center back like the rumor suggests in the January transfer window, could have a solid center backing core. And this was just the perfect tonic after that very irritating Carabao Cup game on Thursday at Old Trafford, which, by the way, I'm not having, which a lot of people commented on afterwards, as a throwaway game where Unai Emery can just tinker in his lab and not experience any consequences when all the chemicals in the beaker blow up in his face because Villa had the lead twice and decided for some reason to get into a track meet with Manchester United on their home patch. I'm not having that, because did the people who traveled and buy tickets to be in that ground and sing their lungs out and take a day off work the next day, did they treat that like a throwaway cup game? Aston Villa is not above any competition. We haven't won a cup since 1996. That's a loser's mentality when you say, oh, well, that's just a Carabao Cup game. I cannot overstate the difference in mentality heading into a 6-week break on the back of 2 wins in a row, 6 points, and a much more comfortable 12th place position. Well, it's night and day from what it could have been. And how do you think Unai Emery is feeling right now? He's hating the fact there's a break right now. He's going to be hungry for more. In fact, if he wins his next game, he'll become the first manager in Premier League history to win his first 3 games. That is incredible to me. And frankly, with only 3 World Cup campaigners in the squad, well, 4, Dendoncker, Cash, Benderak hasn't really played, and Emi Martinez, Villa is going to be pretty fresh, whereas Liverpool is, well, far more represented in Qatar, and their players may be taxed quite a bit over the coming weeks. So I think that is a winnable game. And how are the players feeling? Validated themselves. They have belief. They have relief. Some of them may even have a chip on their shoulder that they weren't selected for the World Cup. Good. By the way, this guy, we worried about the severity of his injury, and he comes back and puts in a very noticeable shift. And he probably, too, is hating the fact that we're now going into a World Cup break. But really, it is incredible the turnaround and the difference 2 games can make. This doesn't mean that Aston Villa cannot go for it now in the transfer window. They've still got to improve this squad with high-end quality. If you want to be at the business end, in those single-digit places, you must invest in the squad. That's the rumor we're hearing. It's time now for the owners to follow through and give Unai the guys he wants. This is always way more fun after a victory as we tally up these subcategories we've been following for the last couple of seasons, including a massive first away win from Villa Park and a VAR decision in our favor, the Lucadine Solly Marsh situation. And Watkins and Ings now up to 7 goals after 2 for Villa's number 9. We got a set-piece goal from the penalty spot, and Emi Martinez, unfortunately, was the architect of his own clean sheet demise with a very poor ball in the first minute. This will blow your mind. That Fulham loss was 23 days ago, just a little over 3 weeks. That is so hard to imagine. Time is flying by so fast here, but it seems like a lifetime ago. That was the lowest of low points that I can recall as a Villa fan. And I guess the good part was it was the end for Steven Gerrard. And I said at the time, the swiftness with the sacking and forcing him to ride home on the coach with the players, that was almost vindictive. And here we are since. Who could have imagined 3 out of the next 4 Premier League games won, a world-class manager at the helm, and apparently reinforcements forthcoming in the January transfer window. And all it took was an owner getting mad and opening his wallet really wide and throwing ridiculous amounts of money at the problem. And here we are now going into the best time of the year, the holiday time. Oh, it is the best. But could you imagine stewing if we had lost these last 2 games? We'd be down near the bottom of the table and would have to be sitting and thinking about it for 6 weeks. What a turnaround. What's next? Well, a really long break. It's like an off season only not summer, winter. I mean, there's going to probably have to be a training camp, a little one, isn't there, in a month's time? And then Unai Emery's alma mater, Villarreal, will come for a little tune-up, and then Boxing Day will come around before you know it. We'll have some transfer rumors, surely. I hope to talk about that. And I'd like to delve into this Las Vegas MLS idea because I'm not really the biggest fan. But until the next time, I got to decorate. I got to put up the parlor tree, get the lights. As always, be well, be festive, and of course, up the mighty villa.